Okay. Okay, well, welcome everybody. It's really great to see you and great to have our meeting today. Um, we have you. I hope everyone has the agenda. In fact, you should have it. You would have gotten it from Dominique earlier. And so I thought we could just ask, were there any corrections to the minutes, any additions? I think everybody got the minutes also.
If anyone has any corrections or edits that they think the minutes should have, please raise your virtual hand. I'm not seeing. Okay, a virtual hand by Vice Chair Gincott. Your mic is open.
Yeah, I move we approve the minutes as presented.
Okay. Anyone like to second the motion to approve the minutes? Please raise your virtual hand if you like to second a motion to approve the minutes. Anyone else for a second? Okay, I see, Shelby, I see your real hand up. Would you like to second a motion to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, with that, I am going to do a quick roll call vote to approve the minutes from the last meeting on December, I believe it was 16th. So starting with Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Taylor, your vote?
Approve.
Thank you. Shelby, your vote?
Hold on. Approve.
Thank you. Committee Chair Cubine?
Yes, I approve.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Gincott?
Approved.
Thank you. Okay, with that, the minutes from the December meeting were approved.
Very good, very good. Also, we're very happy to have Natasha with us to talk about housing. And after that, we have some other items on the agenda. And if we could kind of stick with each item that's relevant as we have our discussions and get through them and make decisions on, our next steps, etc., that will work really well, I think. Can you tell me, Dominique, I thought I heard someone else join the meeting, but I only see, so we don't have Jen yet? Or?
No, and Andrea, Jen and Andrea haven't joined the meeting yet either.
Dominique,
Okay.
I just did a PowerPoint presentation for today.
Okay.
Are you able to put it on the screen? And Natasha and I will follow that.
Hold on one second. Let me find it.
I sent it twice. It was acting weird going through. My internet was moving slow here.
I did get it.
Yay, thank goodness.
So are you going to be able to put that on the screen?
Sure am. Hold on one second. It's taking its time.
Mhm.
So can I be talking while you're doing it?
Sure.
Hold on one second. Yep, let me go ahead and share my screen first. Okay, can you all see it?
I can. Uh-huh.
Okay. Hold on one second. Can you guys, is it?
It's good. It's good for me.
Thank you,
Okay,
Dominique.
let me go back. Hold on. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I wanted to say how much we appreciate Natasha coming and presenting on supportive residential services. As you know, Natasha is supervisor of the supportive residential services for the behavioral health section of the Human Services Department. And she also presented at our mental health forum last year, did an excellent job. And I also wanted to say we're having this because at our last meeting, Jen Williams in particular brought up the great concern about housing, supportive housing for people with mental illness, and the fact that so many people were calling NAMI with this concern about their loved ones being on the streets. And so, so Shelby was going to get with Natasha and get us the information. And in addition to knowing about what the services are, we're hopeful to learn more about what the needs are, the real needs, what statistics we have, because it's been suggested we might want to go to city council, although we would probably talk with a city council member first, but we would want to go to ask perhaps for funds and for some help in increasing the housing availability. So I don't know if Shelby wanted to say anything else, but the screen has gone blank. There we go. There it is. Okay.
Well, without any further ado, Tommy, thank you for the introduction with Natasha and myself. And I just like to say, as the clinical services administrator for behavioral health division, it's myself and one other clinical services administrator, Alicia Mason-Ave. But under my purview, I have the supportive residential services, also have the PATH homeless outreach services, opioid treatment and recovery services, prevention services, and our new Restore OBOT outpatient services. So some of these same people that Natasha is assisting, oftentimes she shares these clients with other programs within the division, such as case management, even the PATH homeless outreach, where they're working together on our continuum of services trying to support people. And also I have Pathway Center, our residential crisis stabilization program is under my purview. So we wanted to take the time today to talk about housing. And Natasha and I, we said we're going to go through this presentation together so that you're not bored with one voice. We are both here to provide feedback and information. So we're happy to do this. We're very tickled to be able to do this. We love the opportunity to let people know what we're doing, especially amid COVID. So we never stopped. We never closed the doors. We kept moving. So we'll start with, as you see, I'm Shelby Giles and Natasha Sam. She's the program supervisor for our supportive residential services. Dominic, if you go to the next slide.
Did it switch over for you guys?
No, you gotta click on slide 2.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. I'm not quite sure what view I'm having. I have.
There you go. Click.
Okay.
Yep. Click. Yeah, there we go. On all presentations you'll see coming out of the Department of Human Services, you'll see that we have these 4 pillars that are our focus in regards to how we deliver services, with service integration, how we have access to our services, communication and engagement with the community, and of course, retaining and acquired talent, skills, clinicians, counselors. So these are our pillars, our 4 pillars for the division. And every program, these are goals that they set to achieve. The next slide, Dominique. We also want to make sure how our leadership is with the Department of Human Services, from our city manager, Patrick Dehaney, and Dr. Kenneth Chandler is our deputy city manager. Eileen Smith, she's over the Department of Human Services in its entirety. Dee Bolden, she's over the deputy director over social services side, SNAP and food stamps. Angela Hicks is over, that is where Natasha and I fall, over the behavioral health and developmental side. Next slide. And so with the mission of support residential services in particular, they're there to provide those residential options and services committed to maximizing individual self-determination, self-acquisition, personal choice, and decision-making to enhance their quality of life. Basically, we're trying to help them be as independent in the community as possible, given their mental health disorders that they may be managing every day. Next slide. And here we start to break down some of the different programs that supported residential services has for behavioral health. Again, many housing programs out there in different areas, like under the Department of Housing and Neighborhood Preservation, but this is what's unique to the behavioral health client. that is also in need of housing. So we have the supervised facilities are designed to provide that care for the individuals that we're serving. So Natasha's team, they're assisting people with their average daily living skills, and they provide supervision support. They have Beach Park East, Beach Park West, where staff are out there every day supporting the clients. They work with people that are incapable of independent living, and due to their mental health or comorbid medical conditions that they're also managing, they're just unable to remain alone. They need that additional support and guidance. So that's where her team comes into play. She also oversees the adult foster care programs that we manage with a maximum of individuals in the adult foster care program. It's for private citizens who are that have opened their homes and to take in this population into their home. They're screened and certified through the Virginia Department of Human Services Adult and Aging Unit. And then we also have the assisted living facilities, as you will hear, the ALFs, which are larger facilities with nursing staff, and financial subsidies are funded care. So I'm gonna pass the baton to Natasha to do a little talking. Go ahead, next slide.
Let me just pull it up. Thank you, guys. I hate to go back, and I don't know the group. Is there any way to do a quick introduction, or should we save that for the end?
Save it for the end. Yeah.
She might like to know who she's talking to.
Okay. We can stop now. We can stop now and go ahead and
could I say, and also could I say something? I've just received a text message from Jen that she will not be able to attend, from Carla that she will not be able to attend, and I got a late message from Brisa last night that her husband was having surgery early this morning. She will not be able to attend, and unfortunately, Sylvia was coming, but she was able to get an injection today, the vaccine, so she won't be here. So I'm sorry some of our people are missing, and I think it is wonderful if we could go ahead and just have a brief introduction
Sure.
to people who are here. So Natasha,
my apologies, Natasha, because I see everyone every month, so for me it was like coming home. For you may not know everybody on the call.
Thank you so much.
Can you hear us still, Natasha?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, am I going first with the introduction? I'm sorry. Okay. So I'm Dominique, and I'm the staff liaison for the Human Rights Commission. I've been the staff liaison. It'll be almost a year in March. Yay! And prior to that, I was the office assistant for the Employee Relations Office.
Nice to meet you, Dominique.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Vice Chair Jenkott, your mic is open.
Hey, Natasha, we did meet back at the presentation that you did, and I'm Ginger, and I am the vice chair for the Human Rights Commission. Welcome.
Nice to meet you again,
Thank you.
Ginger.
Thank you.
Good to see
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioner Taylor, your mic is open.
Yes, my name is Ron Taylor. I'm a Human Rights Commissioner.
Hi, Ron.
Hi.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. All right, Committee Chair Cuban, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, but you can go ahead. Your mic is open.
Thank you. I've known Natasha a long time, and I'm chair of the chair of the Mental Health Task Force, and I'm a mental health advocate, and I'm on Human Rights Commission.
Thank you for that. So, for introducing the level of services and the continuum of housing options we have. What we're seeing in our latest project, which I think Tommy may have alluded to in the emails that she's been communicating with, is permanent supportive housing, which we've received grant funding for since 2017. And really, it's a combination of financial subsidies to provide to the individuals so that they can afford rent, but it also combines support services so that individuals can actually find apartments in the community, maintain those units, and then when they're ready to transition, they have someone to support them to find something else outside of the PSH. So the key part of PSH is that piece as well as the affordability. On slide number 9, when you look at trends, because I know Tommy said she really wanted to look at data today, what we see, and I apologize that this is so small, can you guys see that? For the most part, we are serving right around the same amount of individuals laterally for supervised housing. And again, those are 24-hour slots in the community to include adult foster care homes as well as contracted contracts with adult living facilities. What we are finding, though, with ALFs and AFCs in Virginia Beach is that there has been about a 22% decline in providers in auxiliary grant beds, which create affordability. On average, in order for us to provide care to individuals in AFCs and ALFs, the cost for care ranges from about $3,300 to $3,500 a month. And as you know, most individuals receive no more than $800 a month in Social Security. Auxiliary grants are state funds that are given to localities to provide care in supervised housing settings like ALFs and AFCs. But the auxiliary grant amount is only $1,420. So what is happening in Virginia Beach is that the majority of ALFs are private care beds, which means that you have to have the money to afford that care. And again, that ranges from about $3,300 to $3,500. In the city of Virginia Beach, we have only 5 ALFs that actually accept auxiliary grant rates and have beds designated for that. And of that, there's probably about 25 to 30 beds currently for the entire population that is low income. So again, when you think about it, ALFs for individuals who are aging, and we have a lot of aging individuals who need that level of care, they cannot afford that private care rate. So what we're having to do, not only just SRS, but case management, is move individuals to other localities when they need ALFs. They end up moving to Norfolk, relocating to Hampton, where there's an increase in auxiliary grant beds. So what we do is we financially support those beds through local and state funding. And currently we have just a small amount of beds at this point. And what we're finding as far as the decrease with AFC facilities is providers, as we lose them through attrition, it's been increasingly difficult to find individuals in the community who are willing to open up their homes for adult foster care services. And really what that is individuals in the community who have some level of experience with providing care to individuals. They're opening their home and providing 24-hour care for up to 3 individuals. So when we lose a provider or 3 slots, it's been more difficult for recruiting purposes to find more providers in the community. What we've heard from most of the care providers is the cost of care is increasing, but the compensation has been stagnant. And so that's just something to consider when we talk about needs. The other trend we recognized is our waiting list. And do you mind changing the slide? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what slide? The next one?
It's the next one, yes. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Dominique. This one's gonna get, now my age is showing because it's, when we look at wait lists, Again, when we talk about needs, adult foster care homes, on average, the wait list is about 1.5 years. And most of our single units are lengthy too. So when you look at our affordable housing waiting list, it's 2.5 years on average it takes to get into one of those units, as well as Atlantis Manor, which is affordable. So when the distinction between affordable and I'm sorry, the distinction between affordable and supportive housing is that, like Beach Park East and West, we have staff on site that provide support services and skill building services within the unit. Affordable is really single units that provide a financial subsidy but do not have support services, and it's permanent. So what we're seeing is less individuals are less willing to cohabitate with their peers. They would rather wait until 1-bedroom units come up. And we're not just seeing that within behavioral health, but anecdotally, I know that the COC, or the Housing Resource Center, is also seeing that. When it comes to the shared units, individuals would rather wait until they have 1-bedroom units. And my apologies, Shelby, did I skip something? Was it number 7, some of the options?
Shelby, your mic is open.
I'm sorry. Yes, I think we were on slide
6, I believe.
6.
Oh, my
We were on
apologies.
slide
Okay.
6.
Oh, I
Okay.
thought you did the options. My apologies. Well, let me go back to slide 7 if you don't mind, Dominique.
Sure.
So
Did you?
as far as options,
Oh, is
yes,
it on 7?
it
Well,
is.
did you ever even we number 6?
Okay.
Natasha, did you
Oh,
want to go on slide 6, the supportive residential options?
sure. So that's a good place to start. So what we provide is supportive and skill building services. Primarily, it's a continuum of care and housing options for the adult population of individuals with comorbid disabilities, to include behavioral health and mental health. And those services include skill building, supports related to personal care, routine and safety supports, as well as really monitoring health and physical conditions. We also provide support with medication management. The picture that you see in slide 6 is actually Beach Park West. And as I was trying to explain before, Beach Park East and West, they are 2-bedroom townhomes where individuals share the common areas. They have their own bedrooms. And again, we have staff on site between the hours of 7 a.m., pre-COVID, of course, 7 a.m. and 9 p.m., and they provide skill building services. Beach Park East and West are transitional housing units. Slide 7. Again, to repeat myself, Beach Park East and West are shared 2-bedroom transitional supportive housing units. There's on-site staff available between limited hours. And the goal is really to have individuals transition within 2 years to more permanent settings. This is really the programs that provide the most intensive skill building services to identify whether individuals can build the skills to move to more permanent settings and independent settings, or if they need more supervised settings. So this is kind of the platform to make those assessments and to provide that skill building service. Atlantis Manor are 12 1-bedroom units. It is subsidized by HUD, and it's really designed for individuals who have demonstrated some difficulty residing with other individuals due to their mental illness. And again, they must have the ability to live independently with community mental health support services or other behavioral health services. We also have, for supportive residential options, we have Spirit House. This is a 6 to 9 month transitional housing program for females. This program provides general support, which is provided by Holy Spirit Church, and there is a live-in housing manager. Typically, our higher functioning individuals who have you know, acquired their daily living skills, but really just need to transition out of homelessness or at-risk housing options, kind of go here to stabilize and then move to more permanent settings. It's an opportunity for them to engage in treatment without worrying about financial responsibilities towards rent, as well as just really, you know, seek employment and get ready and save for permanent housing options. We have CAMSHI. Again, these are contractual housing arrangements scattered throughout the city of Virginia Beach. They are 2 and 4 bedroom HUD-funded housing units. And again, these are shared units and they are permanent affordable housing arrangements. I talked a little bit about PSH. Again, this is our newest grant program. We have approximately 72 funded slots. I'm
Slide
sorry?
8, Dominique. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Shelby. We have 78 funded slots, and this is an evidence-based housing first model. Basically, what that means is there's not a lot of prerequisites towards housing. You know, whether someone doesn't have to be clean for months or be engaged in specific treatment arenas, as long as they're open to our division. They do not have health and safety risk, and they meet other program eligibility requirements. We put them on the waiting list and we serve them. Again, this combines voluntary support services with that financial housing subsidy we talked about, and participants actually go out and find their own housing unit within the community for any participating landlord who's willing to rent to that individual, and then we provide that support service to help them remain in those units. And that support services looks like, you know, advocacy for reasonable accommodations, general daily living skills, coordination with outpatient service delivery, and just general navigation when there's violations with trying to preserve housing. If individuals are evicted and there's no health and safety issues with permanent supportive housing, we continue to rehouse that person until we either run out of options or they present a need for a higher level of care. And okay, and so we are at, yes.
Tasha, I wanted to interject for a minute. Dominique, you can probably skip down to go back to slide 10. Because now that I've broken down the different programs, and this is something I shared with you all before, I think at the last meeting before, in regards to a breakdown of the capacity of each of those different programs, housing programs that Natasha just described, and then the number that are on the waiting list in regards to need, and the average length that those individuals are on those wait lists. So I wanted to just bring that back to your attention because, Tommy, I know you were interested also in knowing kind of where the need is. And as you can see, for example, like permanent supportive housing, Tasha will probably touch on that a little bit near the end, and how we are trying to expand that program. And we're trying to increase with 25 additional new beds with funding that is available through the department. So I did want to just kind of highlight that for you. And then Dominique, you can go ahead and Tasha can go ahead and close it out.
Yep. So what do we see for housing trends? As Shelby indicated, and again, I want to emphasize, there is a need for supervised housing. We try to work around least restrictive environments, but again, as we have an aging population and individuals have, you know, sometimes are unstable and they need supervised care, there's still a need to encourage recruitment and look at how we can fund and afford those slots. Because again, there's been about a 22% decline in those slots in general. Housing trends. There's a trend towards, and we are now on slide 11, there is a trend when we look at data and waiting list lengths of time, that individuals, again, are declining shared living arrangements, and they would opt to rather be on lengthier independent and private units. There's a lengthy list for affordable housing. Some of the lengthy list for affordable housing has to do occasionally with just eligibility criteria. For example, PSH, it's an evidence-based program, but the program criteria and eligibility criteria is specifically designated for individuals who have a serious mental illness. And that's just not having a mental health diagnosis, but there's other components to that. They have to be homeless or at risk of homeless, and all of that has to be verified, or coming out of a state facility or jail and at risk of homelessness. So for individuals who are not in those situations, affordable housing still is pretty hard to come by. When we look at the national statistics for affordable housing, for every 57 affordable housing units that are needed, for every 100 renters that need affordable housing, there's only 57 available. And for the state of Virginia, it really boils down to lengthy waiting lists for individuals with disabilities, to include mental health. So again, if they don't meet eligibility criteria like homelessness, at risk of homelessness, coming out of jails or state facilities, the waiting list can be even lengthier. When you think about public housing waiting lists, traditionally known as Section 8, those waiting lists can be, some people describe being on those lists for 7 to 10 years. So I think affordable housing in general that is integrated and developed as part of our general schematics for development for the city of Virginia Beach is where advocacy really lies. And then if we can go to, and again, the reduction in auxiliary beds. Yes, thank you. Slide 12. When we look at what the state, and Tommy talked about this earlier, the Virginia Housing Alliance, they really are the state leader for advocacy for affordable housing and ending homelessness, especially for individuals with mental health issues and other disabilities. Their main focus for this year, and they are doing a lot of advocacy this week, is to maintain and increase funding for the Virginia Housing Trust Fund. And again, that money is used to develop housing and creative ideas for affordable housing and to avert homelessness. To maintain and increase supportive housing that is funded through the Department of Housing and Developmental Services. And then implementation of a state low income tax credit, which is really comparable to the federal low income tax credit. It really makes it affordable for developers through the long haul to create affordable housing options within the community. Prime examples of how that's used is at some of the new housing development projects in the city of Virginia Beach, like the Renaissance and the other housing complex, I think it's called the West, off of Witch Duck Road. And then Delegate Jeffrey Bourne's bill, HB 2046, which really requires localities to build affordable housing that is not designated in specific areas like low-income areas, but that as people develop property, that they have affordability mixed into that, and units designated for individuals who can't afford rent in high cost localities such as Virginia Beach. So the short of it is we need to continue to promote housing that is affordable and provide support services to keep individuals maintained in those units. What we're seeing now is just a lot of individuals due to COVID are obviously struggling in some of their units because social distancing, as well as just overall anxiety around the pandemic. We've had some struggles because we're not able to, transport individuals Housing complexes and apartment complexes are not open, so everything is being done virtually. So we just continue to need resources around COVID, which the department has been very generous with. And again, promoting independent, least restrictive environments that have that support component to it, and continue funding for supervised settings for short durations to allow people to get on their feet.
So we provided you all with a lot of information, and I will definitely make sure that this presentation that you have access, you can have, a copy of it if you like. But we also want to give you an opportunity to perhaps ask some additional questions while we have our expert Natasha here, that this which she breathes every day.
Well, I have a virtual hand up by Vice Chair Gencott. Vice Chair Gencott, your mic is open.
Thank you, Dominique. Thanks a lot, Shelby and Natasha. A very informative presentation. I was struck by what you said about the Section 8 housing waiting list. And the actual waiting time, I'd be curious to see the data on that. You mentioned some folks had said they were waiting up to 10 years, that's just so abysmal for our city. But I was just curious about that. I don't know if you have any more info. Thank you.
I can certainly obtain that for you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gencott. Did anyone else have a question for Natasha or Shelby? Oh, Andrea, yep, your mic is open.
Thanks. Where is the Atlantis Manor located?
That is off of Newtown Road.
Oh, that's why I'm thinking more by Atlantis. That's funny. Okay.
Most people, they think that it's off of Bird Neck Road, but it's off of Newtown Road.
Get one thing in your brain. But yeah, I've been to some calls at supportive housing and a lot at the second precinct where at Beach Park East, and the services provided are, my famous word is phenomenal. I mean, it really, really makes a difference in those people's lives, and to have more, beach parks out there, because supportive housing, it's just the first step that so many people have even had to having any type of independent living, because they have come from institutions or family institution, and then can't go back to their families. So it's always a goal of everybody I've talked to have some type of independent living, and it's nice to see that we have that. And permanent supportive housing also with our contract partners works very well. A lot of people don't even realize that there's supportive housing in their neighborhood, because the houses are in neighborhoods. There's one in my neighborhood in Hunt Club. They're really sporadically around. So I just want to say that's awesome.
And I think that is the goal in regards to that, to have it strategically throughout the city, so that also the individuals can assimilate into their communities in which they're living, and they benefit so much more to be able to have that interaction with other people. So that is one that we really are focusing on this fiscal year in regards to some additional funding that has been made known to us, and we're going after it to try to expand and increase those beds and staffing to support that, because we're going to need the staff to be able to support those additional beds.
And just getting, landlords, because people might be interested if they knew about the program. I also think a fringe benefit is just for the neighbors to help reduce stigma when most people have never met someone with a serious mental illness. So just trying to eliminate the fear factor is huge, and it's one person at a time.
Absolutely.
And I might even challenge that statement, saying that they don't know that they've met someone with serious mental illness, because most families,
I said that, that's what I was thinking.
Yes, they have touched your own families and or extended family or friendships, and they're there everywhere. We're all impacted.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And I really appreciate, Andrea, you mentioning the wonderful work that's being done at Beach Park East. I will definitely communicate that to staff because they do have boots on the ground. What I will say, which is interesting when we talk about NIMBYism, if we do have some disruption, I think what makes the difference when people see that and they don't know that, because we've integrated housing and communities quite well where individuals don't know until there is disruption. But I think the difference is how we respond to individuals' needs. And when people in the community see how responsive, not just how we are, but CIT, the police, emergency services, I think that reassures them. And I think that is what makes the difference. So we appreciate you recognizing that.
Absolutely.
And speaking of that too, I think with the mobile response team, the
The
mobile
MCRT.
combined, yes, and also with the Marcusville and expanding on that, because I know we are also looking at how we might be able to incorporate peers into that co-response in the community or to be available. I think that's going to be essential, moving forward, because that's how things are trending and how we can be more responsive in the community.
Yeah, and our peers are so willing to help. I've worked with both of them and, trying to think, hey, if we could just call Charles to come out here and talk to the person, especially while, if he could hang out in the ED.
Yes, I love
really help. And then you just move the officer to the background and have, Charles up there and, doing their thing. I think that really, our whole goal and really mine is to give people hope. And we find people when they're hopeless. So when they say, hey, I spent 27 hours right in this room or that room over there, and and
it makes a difference.
I got better. There is hope. You just got to keep plugging along.
We had them in the EDs prior to COVID. Our goal is to get them back as we, get through COVID.
Well, good. Hopefully they'll be in. I'll see them in the convention center online to get their vaccine, which I got today.
Awesome.
I did as well.
Oh, good. Yes, I know. I think you should have like some 19 or something like
that. Yeah, we get some kind of sticker or something, a badge of honor.
Mandate. You could get like I voted one. It's like, hey, I'm vaccinated. It went very well today. I moved through very quickly. We were walking way more than we were standing.
That's what Shelby said earlier.
Yeah, my girlfriend was there on Monday, and she was 2 hours and 45 minutes, an hour and a half of which was out in the cold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
it went well today. Yes.
So, yeah, I was very pleased. Now we got to get the community in there.
All right. Thank you, Andrea. I have a virtual hand up by Vice Chair Gencott. Vice Chair Gencott, did you have more to say? Your mic is open.
Hey, thanks, Dominique. So I've got 3 different areas that I wanted to tap into your knowledge. And Shelby, I guess the first one is, and you've mentioned the grants that you're going after and all. Can you share with us what the DHS budgetary strategy is? Let me back up a little bit. Because you've come to our group, to the commission, and what we look for are ways that we can help and support you. And so I'm just trying to get a better knowledge of where you are with that budgetary process. And so that's the first question. And the second question is, what's your sense of your support with the city manager, with Dehaney at this point, just getting to know him, right? And the third was, and this is Andrea also, with the co-responder. I don't know how well this has been funded so far. Where are we with the additional personnel we were looking at getting to the city? So 3 things, whoever wants to talk about it. Everybody open your mics.
Whoever wants to go first to answer, mics are open.
Well, the funding that we're speaking of, we just learned of through the Department of Behavioral Health Developmental Services that they had this additional funding, and for PSHs that have been successful and working at optimum level, they're encouraging them to seek out this additional funding. So we're working with our finance, and the exact amount of which we're going to seek, we're uncertain at this time. We're working with our finance department in regards to developing the budget to support that additional 25 slots. And Natasha, how many staff did we say? 2.5, did we?
Approximately 2.5 additional staff.
2.5 additional staff. One also being a peer, as Andrew was speaking so highly of in regards to the importance of them being a part of as our expansion of this program. So that is one thing. I know our administration is very supportive of this. Our deputy is supporting us and has given us a green light to do what we need to do so that we can get approved for this funding. My feeling from the department is they are pretty amenable to anyone that can show a good plan of action and a solid budget, that they will support this expansion. They know it's needed. They've wanted Virginia Beach to expand for a while, honestly. They back in June, they had approached us. It was around June, but we, due to COVID and so much shifting just with operations at the time, that we could not, that was not the priority in that moment. It was, staff and clients that we're serving and making sure the homeless, working with them. So we finally had a chance to come back and revisit this and know that the funding was there. And so now we're going after that. And I know our administration is very supportive of it. I can't speak in regards to the city manager. I suspect that he will be supportive of it because of our director of the human services being supportive. I'm sure she's communicating her feelings and ideas of what we are trying to do here. And she's always supported us increasing our housing stock. That has been, and as it also being part of our pillar, I would suspect that he's going to support that. Increasing our housing stock is part of one of our pillars. Tasha, do you have anything else to add to that, please?
No, I think that was very good. We're described as a high performing, high needs locality. So as Shelby stated, they've really been soliciting us to delve more into funding that's going to be available. It looks like it's going to be approximately 14 million. They're looking at trying to add another 7 million to that in fiscal year 21. Not just for our locality, but for the state. But they definitely are looking for us to be a part of that equation. What that boils down into figures, as Shelby said, we're crunching those numbers now.
So
But the state has been very, very, in the last 5 years, I must say, they've been very progressive under Governor Northam. He's done a lot to support and expand housing options for our population.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Okay.
So let me just finish up by, and I think this is going to wrap into what Tommy opened with, and that is how we help as the task force and then as the commission. Tommy, is that kind of what we're looking at going there?
Yeah, Jen suggested that perhaps we would go to city council and ask for funding. So I think that's relevant, but I was tying in also a question I was going to ask is for people like NAMI, and I'm sorry Jen is not here. She must have an emergency. She said she sent an email saying why she couldn't come. Jen is with NAMI, Natasha, in case you don't know. But what would you say to NAMI, who I've heard it over time, that people come and they're so distressed that their loved ones are on the streets and have serious mental illness and there's no housing. Do you think they're not contacting the right people, or what would you suggest? Because she was the one that was suggesting perhaps we could ask for funds for a specific facility for this population that they're hearing from. So what would you say? Do you think she's not, should she call you or should she call city or who should she be calling when this
Certainly call me if they're struggling with accessing the correct services, and we can work with local stakeholders. I just think it's a combination of things. What I would say, and it goes back to this as a Human Rights Commission, if we look at housing as a human right that everyone can afford,
right?
whether they have a disability or not, I think if we just all push affordability. The second part of it is to advocate for support services tied to affordable housing, because you can give someone a place, but if they can't manage in that place, then those are the ones that's, their leases are terminated, or even in an adult foster care, when they become aggressive, the providers struggle to keep them there. I think it's just really I think as part of the state's transformation with mental health, I hope that we see more community support services in the way of crisis intervention, skill building, support services, psychosocial rehab. We just really need a major infusion into service delivery. Especially after COVID, I think we're going to be bottlenecked for sure.
Well, I think, we're really so aware of that. And I think that's why we are, advocating for that STEP program that is supposed to provide a more comprehensive system of care for everyone. So in the meanwhile, I'm thinking if they have people at NAMI calling, and it's an emergency kind of, in terms of people on the street with mental illness or a person, who would they call first? I mean, would they call you or they call? I don't think it's kind
If
of.
they're homeless, Tommy, if they're homeless,
Yeah.
homeless, they'll be in the PATH program.
Okay.
PATH
That's
homeless
right. I think I
outreach
have the
program.
number for that person too. Yeah.
Kathleen Brooks Johnson.
Yeah, I think I might have talked to her. I knew the other person.
Yes.
Okay.
PATH program. Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
And if they're not homeless, but they're in need of mental health services, then they're calling our same day access. And if they're seeking housing, they're going through also the regional crisis hotline, and those individuals that meet Tasha's criteria for different programs, they are expediting, trying to get them the services of housing for the chronically mentally ill individuals.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can I ask a question? In your slides, and they were kind of small for me to read. Is there a slide that gives us the data of our homeless population in the city right now?
Data, like you're interested in numbers?
Yeah.
We are just going through the basically like the national head count. A point in time is what we call it. And that is happening right now. So hopefully we can get some accurate numbers. And it's been doing, a lot of it has been virtual, and we haven't been sending people out to the woods this year. I think even last year, if Shelby correct me, I think we did a little bit like call in and let us know like where you see activity of homelessness. Yeah. Like I just saw it today on the interstate. I could just see all the trash in one spot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's where I spent a lot of my time. We had our own homeless task force at the 2nd precinct, but just knowing where to go, as well as people that are coming in for services, but we really try to reach out to the people who are, out in the woods, out on the corner, out in the Walmart parking lot, that may not be coming in for services.
Yeah, because Tommy, if we're thinking of doing something supportive, is looking at housing as a human right, then if you want to put something together to send to and support wherever it needs to go, then that would be a piece we would love to have in there.
Yeah.
As far as numbers, yeah.
Right, right. That's what I was thinking, that
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to gather is numbers and needs so that yeah.
I think one way of getting our message out is, and I don't know if Dominique, you have access to this, is using the nextdoor.com forum. Because the people, the residents, the citizens are all on nextdoor.com. I'm
Yeah,
on a couple different neighborhoods, mine and also one in Chesapeake, but using that where normally I would say, hey, let's put, see if we can get a public service ad in the Virginian Pilot and do a full page. I'm not sure how many people really get the newspaper anymore, but they are on Nextdoor. So having, we do have a volunteer resource access person, Melissa Zabutis is on it a lot. So if we have something that we want to put out as far as information wise, just to let citizens know, hey, this is a service that we provide, or just, regular information just to garner public support, as well as just us saying, hey, city council, we need X, Y, and Z, but getting the citizens aware and then supporting would also be a big help.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good. I'm thinking though, what is our first step? Ginger asked, what can we do? What is this task force next step in trying to help with this problem?
yeah. I was trying to figure that out myself, and
Yeah.
looking at if and timing is going to be important too, depending on like Shelby, when you are pushing forward with the budget request, but your budget is still being developed, so we're not quite there yet. So I have to take, we'd have to take our lead from them as far as timing. But the fact that if we go housing is a human right and we support the implementation, the funding of this program, I think is at minimal what we could look forward to doing in the next few months when we get their information. Tommy, what do you think?
Right. Do you think there's any question that you're not going to get the money? Do you think you need advocacy to get that? You've applied for it?
We feel pretty confident we will be
Yeah.
able to get this funding.
Okay. All right. So then let's look at another way. How can we help? And Andrea is referring to public, informing the public.
Can I ask another question in relation to that funding that I had down? I wanted to ask. I know that on the advocacy list for all of us is permanent supportive housing, and it's in the governor's budget, and they'll be voting on that soon. Now, that's not related to the funds that you said that you're going to be eligible for and have applied for. That's not the same thing. But the part of that too, I asked NAMI, I believe it was, what portion of that money, if that goes through permanent supportive housing funding, this is in the governor's budget, money for it, how do we know what portion of that money comes to Virginia Beach? Does anybody know? NAMI didn't know. I haven't asked anybody else. Do you folks know, Natasha? Hello.
We lost Natasha.
I think we lost Natasha.
Yeah, we lost Natasha.
Did she leave us?
I think she probably got disconnected.
I think she, I think she was dropped.
Well, that's a question I've been asking.
Technical problem, drop. Log back in.
So I think we'll need to give support, some time to determine exactly what we can do, Ginger, but I do like the idea. I remember that when Natasha voted, when Natasha presented at the forum for us, I kept sending questions up there to try to get the panel to bring in human rights, and people were talking, but they weren't specifying human rights. And Natasha said, well, I think everybody would say that it's a human right that everyone should have a place to lay his head. I said, thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so housing, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have the presentation then. Thank you guys so much.
We really appreciate it. And we may be checking back in, and I know this will be a continuing subject for us to make some definite plans for our next steps on this.
And I think it'd be nice when we're able to get those the point in time numbers as well that we should be able to get.
Yes,
probably next
I think so
week or
too. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the next on the agenda was to hear from Jen Williamson. I'm sorry she's had an emergency. And so we've already, if you're looking at the agenda, we've already said that we'll give it some more thought and make some more specific plans. And we so much appreciate this presentation. It's full of information. I'm so glad we have the slides too, and I'll want to be looking at those some more. So the next thing was the update on advocacy for STEP Virginia. This has been one of our projects for the Human Rights Commission for, I think this is the third year, and the third year that the city has been sponsoring it also. And what I would say is at the last meeting, we decided that we would locate the list of all the people that we called last year after the mental health forum, and that we would divide it up and call them again to ask them to call their legislators to ask them to support STEP Virginia. I did locate the list. I did send it to those who agreed to make the calls. I did write a script. I sent out the script, and I'm in the process of getting ready to make my calls, and I would do that within the next few days, and that's probably the same with the others because I haven't talked back to them. Otherwise, we've stayed in touch about STEP Virginia with the state organizations and have their, well, in fact, I attended an advocacy rally, state rally yesterday with NAMI, I believe it was, and I was on the line, I've been on the line with VACSB and Mental Health America. They're all advocating for it. So any of you who want to call your legislators or write them a letter, they said that letters are the most effective. And also to be sure to let them know that you're a constituent when you write a letter to your legislator. But the votes on the budget will probably be coming up next week. They're going through all the other bills, not the budget bills, but all the other bills right now. So maybe within the next few days, I'm not sure, but I know that I'll be making my calls. But are there other things that you're thinking we should do to advocate for funding for STEP Virginia or any other mental health? There are other mental health priorities, but Human Rights Commission had voted to sponsor STEP. There's the permanent supportive housing for one, and there are about 3 other really main mental health issues. Any comments or questions about that? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, the next thing on the agenda is the development of a mental health related video and or alternatives. And I did receive the form from the communications department in terms of what we would use if we were going to start working with them. I did talk with Valerie Myers, who is on this task force, but they are so busy with communications, and they had already let us know that they were booked up for months on things they're working on. And she also added that now they are involved in getting out the message about vaccines for COVID. So that's adding some more. In the meanwhile, I talked with Sylvia on the phone about this, and she had some really good ideas about things that we could do short of a video, but it would involve putting a lot of things on our Facebook page. A lot of us have said that we think that many people in the community are not familiar with the mental health services that are available, and that would be one thing that we could do is put this information on our Facebook page as well as on our website. Also, she brought up the point that there probably already, and I think I know of some videos that are on people's websites, such as NAMI. Some of the things I've seen on there, we could put it on our Facebook page, I believe, and or our web page. Does anybody have any comments about that? You might understand that kind of thing better than I do. Yeah, she was saying there were some stock videos that we could use that have to do with mental health, and to post those most important contact numbers and services on Facebook for the mental health services that are available. She also mentioned, and people do continue to mention it, something about mental health and COVID, because we keep hearing and we keep reading articles about what a serious impact COVID is having on the mental health of many, many, many people, some more serious than others. And I had done some research earlier that was saying that people that already had a serious mental health problem, it was causing some of them to have relapses and, making it even worse. So what other thoughts do you have about, in the video, I've talked with Andrea too, and once we get back to the religious outreach that we want to do, we thought about if we do have some video by then, she might be able to share that. I think that.
Committee chair, I just want to take a moment. Someone has joined us on the phone, so let me identify who this person is. Caller, can you identify yourself, please?
Yes, Dominique, this is Natasha. My apologies, I'm having internet connection issues. But I
Okay.
just wanted you to know I'm still here.
Okay, all right. Great to get you back on.
What's
Thank
that,
you.
Natasha?
Yeah, it's Natasha.
I saw Andrea run.
Yeah, but Natasha's back on with us. She's on the phone, so you can't see her, but she's dialed in.
Great. I
So
saw
back to you,
Andrea
committee
disappear.
chair. Yeah, I guess she stepped away.
Okay. So I had talked with Andrea. She just disappeared from her seat. But about when we do get to be able to do the outreach to religious communities, faith communities, that whatever we've developed by then, it would work in with her presentation. Her presentation does also include community resources, so that would be good. But any other thoughts you have about development of mental health related video, or some of the other points that I mentioned about putting things on Facebook and website for Human Rights Commission? There's Andrea.
Yeah, Tommy, have you looked at some of those clips and all, started to review them for posting?
I haven't. This has been a very busy week for me, and I do have some time tomorrow and the next day, and I hope to be able to. And I recall having seen some of the presentations that, NAMI people had made, and I'm just hoping that some of those were recorded, and I'm going to talk with Jen some more about that. How about you? Has anybody else looked at some of the clips that they can identify that we might want to use?
I haven't either, but I think maybe that's a way to start it if you start to look at some of the things. And we have to remember, and then share it with us in committee, and we can give feedback.
That's a good idea.
And we know that anything that you post has to be really short and to the point. So it's almost better, like the beautiful slides we did a year and a half ago were really, really good. I'm like, I want to post them again. They were so good, but we've already posted them.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, they're very short, but we haven't really done them. We should think about where we can do those.
Yeah.
And the ones that
About stigma.
stigma, right? We
Yeah.
used it at the ice hockey mental health night. Yeah. That's
Hey, Carla.
Hi, Carla.
So,
Patty, I'm sorry I'm so late.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
15 minutes to go, at least. We're looking for suggestions about what to post on the website and Facebook in the place of going ahead and doing a video. Now, what are you laughing about, Andrea?
Oh,
See you. You
yeah, husband ducked in, saw the
Are we
screen
all
and ran
here?
away.
unmuted?
Okay, anyone have any suggestions about postings for Facebook for mental health or mental health services?
Well, I think the things that we've mentioned are good, so I'll get to work on that and I'll start looking at some clips. And anyone else who comes across any clips, let us know. The next thing on the agenda was outreach to faith communities. Last meeting we said that Andrea has a presentation prepared. She's presented it to faith communities in the past, And I think the fact that Andrea is a CIT officer is another good thing that faith communities would like to have her come. And so I think maybe, you know, she would be able to go to a lot of them and we can help. But as I'd mentioned earlier, if we do develop any kind of video, perhaps Andrea could use it with her presentations. We had decided to wait until we can do this face to face. We feel like it's more effective, even if we use the convention center to have some distance, but it would be a while. Any other comments on that? Is Ron still with us?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Ron. Well, you know, this is a little different, but before the COVID thing stopped us, we already had an appointment to meet with the Minority Outreach Committee of NAMI. And that's what we're going to talk about that day. And you had some contact with some pastors, and we were planning to do a meeting with that to get some input from them about how we can do more in terms of faith communities and mental health. Anything further from your point of view, Ron?
Yes, as I am the chair and leader of the African American Leadership Roundtable, I have pastors from all African American domination, from Kojic to Methodist, Baptist, Seventh-day Adventists, and all the African Americans around the roundtable. So that would be an excellent place to do a presentation. We have had the school board there, the mayor, and various other individuals from delegates to come speak before the African American Leadership Roundtable in Virginia Beach.
So are you thinking about doing it while we're still on virtual?
Yeah, because we have virtual meetings.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is you just tell me what kind of time you need, and in doing one of our virtual meeting, I can plug it in.
Okay. One of the reasons we wanted to reach out to the faith communities is that we know that the majority of faith communities don't talk about mental health. I've seen a lot of research on that, and I know it to be true. And one of the reasons we wanted to have relationships, contacts, was to see what we can do to encourage faith communities to be supportive of people with mental health conditions, as well as we were hoping that some of them might become advocates, you know, for services for people and for helping us reduce the stigma. So that's not an easy thing to do. Are there any thoughts about, if we were going to present to the roundtable, what would be the focus? I mean, I know you can always talk about resources, but our main thing from the beginning was to have an impact on faith communities as far as they're doing more to support people with mental health problems. My church has Galilee Advocates for Mental Health. We've had it for years and years, but I don't know how much we've impacted the congregation, as far as maybe some. I did see this article, I think I sent it to Ginger, how the church can make mental illness a topic of conversation.
I was just going to suggest you send that to Ron. And
to Ron and you?
Do his
roundtable. Andrea? Did I send it to you? Okay.
You did send it to me, yes.
Okay, I knew I sent it to somebody. Well, the number one thing on that page is preach it from the pulpit. And I don't know if I got it from this article, but I've been seeing this group speak, trying to encourage them from the pulpit, because I feel as though if your leader, your minister, your priest brings it forth as a subject and give support, I think that could have a really good impact. So what do the rest of you think?
Yeah, that article, he's muted.
Commissioner Taylor, did you have something to say on that?
Yes, I think quite a few African American churches are embracing mental health now, and I think if you because they have the bully pulpit, and so they can get the message out on mental health issues. And not only that, take the information that you've given and put it on their website in order to, for members can go to the website if they, and click on there and get the information and help that they need. But also, quite a few churches now are having mental health ministries. And so that's another way they go, for people that's dealing with mental health, they can reach out to the mental health ministry to get help or be led in the right direction to seek help and resources to help them to deal with their mental health issues.
Mm-hmm. I
And
only
you
know
guys, we're-
one other. Oh, I'm sorry. I
As
only know
we're-
one other.
Your first time, go ahead.
Okay, I only know of one other faith community that has a mental health ministry, and that's St. Andrews. Is it Presbyterians over in Kempsville or I'm not sure, but
Episcopal, I think.
no, it's not. And I know her person that runs it, but it's St. Andrews in Kempsville. Presbyterian, I believe. I went to one of her presentations, but I don't know of any other faith communities that have mental health ministries. If Ron does it, maybe we could get together.
Yeah, and like my church is Trinity Church, and what we were doing, we had a Lazarus project. And so if any member was dealing with mental health issues and couldn't pay for the counseling, we would pay for their individual outpatient psychotherapy counseling. And plus we have members in our congregation who are licensed outpatient therapists.
Right.
Shelby had something to add to the discussion.
I was just thinking how we're broaching Mental Health Awareness Month, and perhaps if we could have a couple of items to share with the faith-based organization in regards to mental health and education, information, resource support.
Good idea.
A couple times, more than once as we build to the big Mental Health Awareness Month, and then kind of come back to them in regards to, so what have you incorporated in your fellowship to support this need? As I was listening to you all talk, I was thinking it's pretty good in regards to making, getting them ready to move forward with Mental Health Awareness Month and doing something different in their church to acknowledge it and to, like you said, start with the pulpit. How can we connect with these pastors, ministers, priests to support this need?
Yeah, we have a special prayer that's included in Mental Health Month, and we give out green ribbons and we do certain things, but it's not, it's not that the whole congregation is involved. I mean, they wear the green ribbons, and I feel like we could do more, in other words, but I do like that idea that, with May being Mental Health Month coming up, we could be planning on what we could do in relation to the faith communities.
Mm-hmm.
So how should we move from here on the faith communities?
Is there an interfaith organization in Virginia Beach?
Yes, the IAB, Interfaith Alliance.
Yeah,
was sitting on that when we had meetings.
Yeah, Interfaith Alliance at the beach. I still attend that. Teresa Stanley is very active in it, and Joni Wood is a woman that started the mental health ministry in Kempsville. I do believe it's Presbyterian, and it meets monthly. And this past week, we did a bank on. They do a lot of good services.
Do you think we perhaps could invite representation from there to come to this meeting to see?
Well, perhaps we could go to that meeting. Who would be
that?
Maybe,
we can collide.
Well, actually, Alice Testament at your she's in charge of coordinating it and sending out the notices and the whole thing.
Yeah, she's the city
make a presentation. We should make a presentation. I present that sometimes to, on STEP or other mental health issues, but not a full.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah, right.
It's a good community group, and usually they try to have one person from each church come to the meeting once a month, and it varies it's held at different churches throughout the city for the most part. Now I think it's pretty much gone virtual.
Feeding people, and it is virtual. It is, yeah, it is.
But yes, we could get something, and Alice is the one to talk to.
Well, I can
She
talk to her. Just
Teresa.
what do we want to do?
That's true. And, I think we don't want to rush anything because Ron has said we could talk to the round table. And we're saying IB. That's two that we could talk to.
Yeah.
So we have to have a program to talk to them. So what shall we do? Shall we collaborate outside of this meeting on, it can't be real long, and we do want to agree on what it is. We don't want to just go in there and tell them about, one particular program. And we want to make it pertinent to what this task force is trying to do.
Meaningful. Yes, make it meaningful.
Yeah, right. And I think what we're trying to do is to encourage faith communities to maybe develop mental health ministries, but somehow to encourage the support, encourage the conversation. Yeah, I'll send out this article. That looks good. And encourage conversation.
Share that article with this group?
Yeah, I could do that, right.
Okay.
It's a very good, concise article.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you send the article link to me, Tommy, I can send it out to the group.
Okay, that's great. I'll say in the meanwhile, anybody that wants to just write in the words how the church can make mental illness a topic of conversation, it pops right up. But I'll send you the link. Okay. Okay. What others, what's our next step on this? I'm gonna send the article.
Any thought from anyone on next step for this potential project?
No, I think we'll start with the article, and we can even
some of us
committee chair Cubine Andrea was offering some ideas for the next step.
I was just going to say that just making a presentation to the IAB on that we exist, that we're trying to support it, and as far as specific cases or specific things that we might be able to help on, just to put the word out that there is a Human Rights Commission mental health task force, and this is what we're doing, what we're about, and just letting people know here we are.
I think we would have to do that, but I think we really want to appeal to them and get their input. Maybe we go and get their input. How could what would help in terms of having the faith communities more interested, alert, aware of mental health needs and support for their congregation of people that need it. But
pass out the article to them. So we can pass out the article to them as well.
Maybe Andrea and Ron and I could talk and make some decisions about the real focus of the presentation. It has to be short. And then we could decide who's going to do it and how we do it and what it would include. Would that be suitable with the other people on the committee? Are there other people that want to have a time to discuss this? If so, we could have another meeting on Zoom.
Is everyone good with that that idea for committee chair Cubine, Commissioner Taylor, and Andrew to get together to talk about what the focus of the presentation could be to faith-based communities, and then maybe come back together as a whole committee to discuss it.
Yeah, I agree. I support that.
I agree.
So we can have specific items, the purpose of us reaching out to them, being real clear, concise.
Exactly. And if anyone else would like to discuss it with us, that would be fine. So let us know.
Just keep us posted. You guys are the central focus there. You've got the background. So just go for it.
I know our time is, we have 2 minutes. unless we want to go on later for this meeting. So we'll want to look at approximate time for this task force to meet. Will you help us with that, Dominique?
So
I want to call Dominique Monique. Dominique.
when my little cousins are young and they can't pronounce Dominique, Monique is exactly what they call me. So do you guys want to get together again as a whole committee after you, Ron and Andrea discuss? So when do you guys want to have that discussion so then we can decide when the next committee meeting should be? Do you want to do a next committee meeting? What is it?
Can we do it the week of the
15th, 22nd?
Yeah.
Would be better. Okay. So I'll do a doodle poll for the week of February 22nd. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right.
Thank you, Dominique.
You're welcome.
And Andrea and Ron, are you still here, Ron? Ron?
Commissioner Taylor?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Are you in agreement to meet with Andrea and me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so shall we do it by phone to get a time that would be suitable?
We can do that.
Okay, why don't we do that? Okay, and we might ask Dominique to help us, but the three of us ought to be able to do that. Okay, so, thank you to everybody who came today, and special thanks to Natasha and Shelby for bringing us this wonderful program today. We really appreciate it. And I know that we'll be back in touch with you to develop specific steps. Anybody?
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Good one.
All right.
Thanks, you too.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
one.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.